year, billions of dollars, and they contribute nothing. The welfare is like 88%. They contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country, I'll be honest with you, okay? Somebody would say, oh, that's not politically correct. I don't care. I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country. I could say that about other countries, too. I can say it about other countries, too. We don't want them to hell. We have to rebuild our country. You know, our country's at a tipping point. We could go bad. We're at a tipping point. I don't know if people mind me saying that, but I'm saying it. We could go one way or the other, and we're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country. Ilhan Omar is garbage. She's garbage. Her friends are garbage. These aren't people that work. These aren't people that say, let's go, come on, let's make this place great. These are people that do nothing but complain. They complain. And from where they came from, they got nothing. You know, they came from paradise, and they said, this isn't paradise. But when they come from hell, and they complain, and do nothing but bitch, we don't want them in our country. Let them go back to where they came from and fix it.
Well, you just heard that from Donald Trump, the president of the United States. You know, when he opens his mouth before we even talk about, you know, the most disgusting things that he have said about our beloved Somali fellow Americans and migrant people that live here, I believe the number is about 200,000 Somali people that live here, whether they're American or migrants. 58% of Somalis are American born here in the United States. Donald Trump wants to wage a purge on Somali citizens here, targeting Minneapolis first. He already came after Dearborn. This is racist, right? Can we just say all together that what we are hearing is racism? I don't know why people still look to cling to excuses for this man. Oh, he's not talking about all immigrants in this case. He's not talking about all Somalis in this case. He's not just talking about Ilhan Omar. He's talking about her friends, the squad. And he can say whatever he wants, apparently, and feels the justification. They gave him a round of applause in that cabinet, just to let you know. And it's absolutely, positively disgusting, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Jabari. I am a journalist, podcaster. I am a socialist. I'm a labor worker in the union. I work 40 hours a week, bro. And I have not been on this platform for about 2 weeks, heading on to almost third week. I was sick, under the weather, and now I'm back. I have amazing guests lined up for later on, but I think right now it's appropriate for me to just have a conversation with you guys and talk about a lot that's going on in the news right now. Very important stuff. The Somali immigrants, the Somali-Americans are the number one target right now. Last week before that, it was Nigeria. It's been Venezuela this whole entire time now for the past 2 months. We are seeing a president that just sees every Black and brown person as the problem. And we're going to get into that. So please stay tuned, because there is so much that we're going to talk about. Baby, no go put me for the corner. Girl, I want to take you to my mama. Girl, I want to love you till forever. Something about love. Elon Omar fled a civil war in Somalia. Elon Omar fled a U.S. backed civil war in Somalia. The U.S. has always placed money into regimes in Africa, Latin America. They have always placed money to the most craziest motherfuckers on the planet. Excuse my French. This is my show. I guess I say what I want. And they have the nerve that when they are literally investing in the chaos to destabilize and the continuation of destabilizing these governments and destabilizing these countries, they embolden their rhetoric here in the United States, hating with their xenophobic rhetoric, attacking the people that come here, the migrants and the immigrants. And now here's my thing, and this has always been something I have said for my anti-war stances. Whenever I see somebody complaining about immigration here, you cannot complain about immigration when your country is fully active 24/7 in toppling other governments, not for human rights issues. That's what they lie and tell you that's what it's about. It's about resources. It's about domination. It's about power. That's why we have 900 bases around the world. That's why we tell China, where during the Nixon era, we signed a one China policy that even Europe recognized that, oh no, you can't have Taiwan right now, even though Japan forfeit Taiwan over to you after World War II. Taiwan's supposed to be a part of your country, but no, you can't have it now because we need Taiwan to be an adversary towards you, so there can always be chaos going on. So one day we can overthrow China. One day we can use Ukraine, which is not working out, to overthrow Russia. One day we can keep a hegemony with, why are there troops in Africa? Why are there troops? Why are there still troops in Africa? Why are we still bombing Sudan? Why are we still promoting the genocide of Rwanda with our money, while Rwandan government literally supports the M23 to commit a genocide against the Congolese people? Our hands are bloody. Our tax dollars are bloody. They are used to keep the destabilization of all these governments. And then when the immigrants come here, we got some nerve to complain. Okay, listen, a lot of people don't know. A lot of people are living their lives here in the United States, working really hard, and then they see somebody else and they want to put blame towards them or why things are not working out the way that they want it to work out in this country. But the blame is the U.S. government. The blame is capitalism. The blame is exploitation. The blame is the rich. The blame is U.S. imperialism itself. When Iran yells death to America, Iran is not talking about death to this country. Iran is talking about death to American influences. Just remember that when they yell death to America, they are talking about the influences that keep their countries destabilized. We sanction 1/3 of the entire world. 1/3 of the entire world. And with that, we also support 1/3 of this world's dictatorships. You know what I mean? It's big business. These contractors are making so much money. We waste $2 trillion in Afghanistan and Iraq and did not accomplish anything. The only thing that was accomplished was we did get the poppy fields. Now we got people strung out over here. We did get all the oil. The Bush administration, the Bush family was literally oil rich to begin with. We accomplished the resources. We gave BP. We gave what was the other gas? I can't even think of the other gas company. We gave all those gas companies, those regions, Afghanistan. You can look at the map. Look at the map. So when the United States president, and as nasty in the way that he talks about other people, he is just showing the true ugly truth of how bipartisan U.S. imperialist policies work, how foreign policy work. We need Somalia to be, quote unquote, what he calls a shithole country. I don't even see Somalia as a shithole country. I don't see Sudan as a shithole country. No country is actually poor. They are just exploited to the biggest degree. They don't have control of their resources. which is why it's important to have leaders like Ibrahim Traoré in the Sahel region under Burkina Faso with a coalition with Niger and Mali. They are doing a lot of great things because they are showing that Africa, when they actually have the opportunity to reestablish their sovereignty and actually be great countries, they can do it. But what keeps them back is the white man. And that's factual. You cannot tell me it's not. I'm sorry. What keeps them back is colonialism. What keeps them back is imperialism. If it wasn't the Europeans, now it's the Americans. That's why they had to kick them out of the Sahel region. They kicked out the French, they kicked out the American troops, and look at them now. They're building more roads than they ever built under the European control. I need people to pay attention to what's happening right now because the world is changing. The Western influence is dying, and the East is rising. The global South is rising, while the West that exploits everything, especially Europe, they don't have nothing to give. Russia has so much resources to give. That's why they want Russia, but majority of Europe has nothing to give. All they can do is just take resources. So it's time that they learn how to, if they want to stay around, do business, trade with Africa. Because little by little, they are losing. France is losing its influence in Africa. And they are taking all their money with NATO. I didn't want to get onto this conversation about NATO and everything because this is not the show I prepared. It's not a part of the notes. But the president is a reactionary fuck who got elected because the Democrats didn't have anything better. And this is what we're stuck with. It's crazy. It's only been a year, almost a year. We got 3 more years with this guy. Are you excited about that? Oh man, let's see what's next on the agenda. So there is a new travel ban, 19 countries to be exact. Let me pull up. This is in correspondence. Of course, Somalia is a part of it, by the way. This is in correspondence with, a lot of what this State Department wants to call as extreme terrorism. I want people to understand that since the fabric of the United States has been existing, the immigrants has never had a crime rate higher than actual American citizens ever. And it's it's politicized because when it comes to these terrorist attacks, referring to the 2 National Guard service people who were murdered in Washington D.C. by a man who was a part of the he was a wait let me sorry the man who was a part of uh Afghanistan was when we left Afghanistan. He was a CIA agent. He was a CIA asset. He was actually leading some death squads. And this man decided to murder 2 National Guardsmen. And since he was Afghani, the Republicans freaked out and went on a very Muslim strong rant, Islamic phobic rant. A lot of them were just detailing, saying that this man was part of the extremism that is corresponding here when all we see is shootings, mass shootings that are inspired by Christianity. Christians are doing this. And I'm not saying all Christians, it's just extreme white nationalist Christian terrorists that are doing this. It's not them that are all doing this. It's not all the Muslim people. They get one Muslim guy and they just want to assume everybody's doing it. Charlie Kirk wasn't killed by a Muslim. He was killed by a white man. But no, there's a travel ban. 19 countries. Let's see. So we have, of course, Somalia. We have Afghanistan. We have, here we go. Cuba, of course, Sierra Leone, Yemen, Sudan, Iran, Haiti, of course, the Congo, Chad, of course, Venezuela, Turkmenistan. I can't pronounce that country name. I apologize for not being able to pronounce your name. These are just a few. And dude, let me tell you something. This is absolute. Notice one trend. It's not a European country that's on this travel ban at all. It's never going to be a European country. That's who they want here. They don't want us, black and brown people here. They want Europeans here. So, when I say this, I'm not saying this because I'm against Europeans. I'm saying this because this is exactly what they want here. You know what I mean? And this is what bothers me when we talk about countries like Ukraine, where people are just so, they deserve sovereignty. They deserve sovereignty and all this nonsense. Yes, they do. Every country deserves sovereignty. But it seems that only exists for white countries. Why do I say this? Because whenever we bring up a country like Cuba, Venezuela, Colombia, we just talked about Somalia, Sudan. Donald Trump, he made a statement saying that we're not only going to go after Venezuela, but we'll probably bomb Colombia as well too. And why would he want to go after Colombia? Because the president there, Gustavo Petro, apologize. The president there, he is very boisterous. He is very boisterous about the fact that this man, Hegseth, under Donald Trump's guidance, is bombing people in their boats. Bombing. And they are lying, saying that they are a terrorist organization. They are a drug cartel. No proof, no evidence. Where is the due process? Where's the investigation? This is very illegal. Let's look on a little bit on this. Check out this video with me. All right, here we go.
Drug boat near Venezuela in early September twice. NBC News reporting that second strike was ordered after the first failed to kill everyone on board, according to a U.S. official and a source familiar with the Pentagon's actions. Some lawmakers now raising legal concerns if the second strike targeted survivors, with questions growing about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's role.
Does the administration deny that second strike happened, or did it happen and the administration denies that Secretary Hegseth gave the order?
The latter is true, Abe. Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law.
Admiral Frank Bradley is overseeing the growing U.S. military buildup in the region, which the administration says is targeting.
Sorry about that, guys. I apologize about that, guys. Let's get back to it. I don't know what just happened. You click one thing and then it becomes another. Here we go. Here we go.
And a source familiar with the Pentagon's actions. Some lawmakers now raising legal concerns if the second strike targeted survivors, with questions growing about Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth's role.
Does the administration deny that second strike happened, or did it happen and the administration denies that Secretary Hegseth gave the order?
The latter is true, Abe. Secretary Hegseth authorized Admiral Bradley to conduct these kinetic strikes. Admiral Bradley worked well within his authority and the law.
Admiral Frank Bradley is overseeing the growing U.S. military buildup in the region, which the administration says is targeting drug traffickers. Lawmakers on both sides now calling for more information.
And we're going to try to get to the facts.
Some say targeting incapacitated survivors after the initial strike could be a war crime.
You don't do that. Everybody knows that. You know, that is against the Geneva Conventions.
On Sunday, President Trump was asked about a second strike aimed at killing survivors.
Number one, I don't know that happened, but no, I wouldn't have wanted that, not a second strike.
Hegseth now placing responsibility for the second strike on Admiral Bradley, posting, "He has my 100% support. I stand by him and the combat decisions he has made." Meanwhile, President Trump held an Oval Office meeting Monday with his team, including Hegseth, to discuss Venezuela. Also meeting with the president yesterday, Homeland Security Secretary Christie.
All right, before we get into that, I think it's very, very important to talk about that. Yes, they're over here saying, "Oh, this admiral, he is so amazing. He's going by the orders. He's a war criminal. He's a war criminal." And not to mention that there are officials within the U.S. government that are stepping down, and I want to give them the kudos for stepping down, because while they're stepping down, they realize that this whole incursion for Venezuela is unconstitutional. So I want to give my kudos to that, because under the Constitution, we know that our servicemen have the right to deny orders. So thank you so much for the ones that denied the orders. And I hope that the people that are not denying the orders, I hope you don't feel, I hope when you sleep at night, I hope you fully understand that you are a monster, and you're probably not going to get any flack for what you're doing right now. Why? Because the United States does not follow whatsoever wholeheartedly. The United States does not follow at all international law. International law does not matter. I need people to understand that. International law does not matter to the United States government. Okay? We do not follow international law. We don't. And other countries do. Why? Because they're supposed to. That's why. They are supposed to follow international law. Who created international law? Our government and Europe. All these governments came together, created the Geneva Convention. Why was the Geneva Convention established? Because of World War II. World War II was the reason why the Geneva Convention was established. Now, the reason why we have these laws established is because World War II was very, very bloody. 80 million people died on estimate. I believe it was actually more than that. I think it was like almost 100 million. But on estimate, it was a lot of fucking people that died, because when we fought the Nazis, everybody that was around that vicinity got it. And the Nazis did the same thing too. You know what I mean? So we had these laws established so we could have more ethical wars. But the United States does not believe in ethical wars, because in every single war we have been after the World War II, after establishing our dominance, after becoming the world power, and using the dollar as the world currency, after the British dollar was depleted, because that was the world currency beforehand, we feel that we can do what we want and no one can question us. And that goes along very well when you have veto power in the UN as well, too. You know what I mean? And they use that veto power very well. In the UN, they do not see it as a human right. Oh, this is the United States stance. In the UN, everything is a privilege. Food, water. Human rights is a privilege to the United States. That's why they veto so much. You know what I mean? They veto ceasefires because they want wars to keep going. That's what they've been doing with Gaza. The UN has been trying to put in a ceasefire to stop what's going on. And the UN is also at fault with Israel's creation as well, too. So don't even, I'm not going to be saying here, Like we sit here acting like the UN is like the only ruling body that can bring morality to the US. The UN has blood on their hands. Let's talk about Brazil, talk about Haiti. The UN has bloods on his hands. But yeah, so this is why I don't really feel that, these intellectuals and people that come on these mainstream medias, they'll go, oh, it's against crime, it's a crime against humanity. They're bombing all these boats. They are more pissed off at the fact that they double tapped that boat for some reason than they are pissed off at the fact that before that boat was attacked, that this government has already killed 80 people. It's astonishing to me. They have already killed 80 people. President Petro Gustavo, he is in the middle of a lawsuit because of this against the United States. Because the United States has attacked with no investigation, no proof whatsoever, without due process, has attacked these people. They have killed Caribbeans. They have not just killed Venezuelans. They have killed people from all over the Caribbean. They have killed Colombians. Here is an article. Let's bring up this article real quick before we continue on with this video. Here's an article of a family that is going to court over this because they murdered one of their family members. The wife of this family member. Here it is. Family. Let me see. Make sure people could see it because I know that it doesn't show, and that's exactly what's happening right now. On guy, we bring it all the way up. Okay, here it is. Family of Colombian fishermen killed in U.S. boat strike files complaint alleging he was murdered. I love how, this is my issue with Western media. They love having these like titles that just sound complicit to me. Just say it. Trump and Hexif ordered a strike on a boat that did not have any drugs. They killed a family member and they're getting away with it. Okay, that's exactly what's happening. They're going to get headline. So yeah, there's a lot of these lawsuits that I hope keeps coming. I really do, because these people deserve justice before they started complaining about. And I'm not diminishing what just happened to these people. They deserve to live. But it's astounding to me that the media right here only wants to make a big
afterwards
deal.
That she was recommending a.
Excuse me, I'm talking. The media only wants to make a big deal about how they attacked them twice. And the media is not really talking about why in the first place we attacking fishermen. I think that's the most important part. Okay? Why are we attacking fishermen and saying that they are Venezuelan gangs? They're not. Nicolas Maduro is not a dictator, one. Nicolas Maduro is not the leader of a drug cartel at all. Matter of fact, didn't Donald Trump, while complaining about the drug cartels, pardon the former president of Honduras? His name, this man sold 40 tons of cocaine. That cocaine. He was a Hillary Clinton pick. So this is how you know it's bipartisan with this government. They support drug narco state people, bro. They're supporting Dina up in Peru, who loves the cocaine. They supported the last president of Colombia before Gustavo even was elected. And he was a dictator that was narco state. Colombia was known for the cocaine. They even tried to make Colombia part of NATO. Okay? So this is the issue that I have here. I'm trying to get the name of the guy because I have his name. I just want to make sure I say it correctly. This is the guy right here. This is the fucking guy right here. Juan Orlando Hernandez. Look who he's shaking hands with. This is what I'm saying, dude. They think we're stupid. They think we're this country politicians. They think we're freaking stupid. Hillary Clinton put that narco dude in office. They overthrew a democratically elected president, and they put him in office, and he turned Honduras into a narco state. And then they lock him up. Now he out. Homeboy did like what, almost 15 years in prison, almost on the 45 big. Lucky motherfucker. Deal of a lifetime. You sell cocaine and you get caught selling tons of it and you get sentenced to 45 years and they let you out in like 10. Bro, you a lucky guy, bro. Lucky guy. And while we're over here freeing drug dealers, real drug dealers, certified gangsters, we're attacking Venezuela for a lie, saying that they're a narco state when there's never been any evidence that they're a narco state. Do drug dealers exist in Venezuela? Of course, I never put that past me. But are they controlling the government? No, there's no proof of that. What do they want? The oil. It's all about the oil, baby. All about the oil. Let's just let them finish.
New domestic policy, a quote, full travel ban on every damn country that's been flooding our nation with killers, leeches, and entitlement junkies. Trump has intensified his crackdown on immigration in the wake of last week's shooting of 2 National Guard members in Washington, allegedly by an Afghan national who entered the U.S. legally in 2021. Overnight, President Trump shared Secretary Noem's post on social media. We've reached out to the Department of Homeland Security for more details and have not heard.
And by the way, you know, this guy, by the way, guys, he hasn't released the Epstein files. Can we please talk about the Epstein files? While you sit here and you lie, you freaking lie to the American people. All right. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with my StreamYard. StreamYard's bugging. I'm sorry about that glitch. All right, but we're back. We're back. StreamYard was bugging. Sorry about the glitch. We are back. Let's move on to our next segment. But yeah, I think it's very, very it's very, very telling like what time it is right now. Right, what time it is right now is that the United States is freaking out because they're losing their hegemony. They are definitely losing their hegemony. They're losing their influence. BRICS is a big competitor. Donald Trump is trying to make sure the rich gets the biggest tax cut they ever got. Donald Trump is trying to make sure that the United States stays established as a world power and make as much money as it can. So this is why he's doing everything he can to keep the money flowing. Of course, he wants the oil in Venezuela. He doesn't care about Nicolas Maduro. He cares about the oil, just like in Syria as well, too. We are still getting that oil, baby, in Syria. We are making sure we occupy wherever the oil is at. We let HTS do whatever the hell they want. They want to kill the Druze? Go ahead. You want to kill the Alawites? You want to put Alawite girls into slavery? Go right ahead, buddy. While we get the oil, you do whatever you want. But you better do what Israel want too. Because Israel is like, oh, while you're doing stuff for America, you better respect what we want too. And we want land. We want expansion. We want expansion. And if you don't like that, you're anti-Semitic. You are anti-Semitic. Why do you not want Israel to take all that land? Huh? What is wrong with you? It was promised to us for 3,000 years. We're supposed to take all that land out of Syria. We're supposed to take all that land out of Lebanon. We're supposed to take all that land out of Egypt. Yes, Jordan's on the map too. Saudi Arabia is on the map too. Oh, Greater Israel is happening, baby. How dare you not want that? And if you don't like it, we're going to put you on anti-Semitic of the year. Miss Rachel is number 2. All she said was stop killing Palestinian children. Her whole stance was stop bombing children. You don't want us to bomb children. You are anti-Semite. Can't make this up, bro. You cannot make any of this up at all. It's anti-Semitic if I tell you shouldn't be killing kids. The bare minimum of your little war regime, I already said free Palestine. 60% of the Jewish population in the world don't even support your bloodshed. 60%. And you call Miss Rachel a Semite. You give her number 2 behind the racist Tucker Carlson. Oh my God, man. Guys, what is the problem? What's the problem? We just don't want you bombing kids. We want you to establish, some people want a 2-state solution, so I'm not going to say all of us. There needs to be a 1-state solution, just like here. There was apartheid here. There was a time when 90%, this was in the 1950s, that 90% of the population was white. And they wanted to make sure that your black ass, your Puerto Rican ass, your Chinese ass, everybody, whoever, don't have the same rights as the white man. Shit, I mean, before that, women had to fight just to vote. White women had to fight just to vote because they was considered property too. They used slavery to build power as well too. The white women back in the 1800s, 1700s. So this is how expansionism work. Israel is expanding. Israel wants to swallow Gaza. Israel wants to swallow the West Bank, just like what South Africa did with invading into Angola with their apartheid back in the day. This is what apartheid regimes do. This is what colonialism is. Zionism is colonialism. No doubt about it. And to have this list here calling, look, Cenk Uygur, come on. Cenk Uygur is not anti-Semitic. Anna Conspiracy is definitely not anti-Semitic. Know what I mean? Like, look, I'm not even defending everybody. So I'm just saying, it's crazy that Miss Rachel is anti-Semitic. It makes no sense to me. Like, y'all are goofballs for that. Like, you're that mad, bro, that she brought a Palestinian girl onto her show? Like, really? That made you that mad? Y'all are messy. Y'all are messy. There's a video that I noticed that did not download that I want to show. It's the video what's going on in the West Bank. Before I bring this on, I just want to give a little prologue. A little pretext, not prologue. I am one who have constantly, and if you're new to what's going on in Palestine, I salute you for finally being on the right side of history. I get it. There's a lot of information that has been hidden. So it's not your fault. It's not your fault, but I'm glad if you are now supporting Palestine since the re-incursion in Gaza started about 2 years ago, going on 3, definitely gonna be 3 soon because they're not gonna stop. It has not stopped Donald Trump. There is no ceasefire, Donald Trump. I don't know why he keeps lying like that, but I want to thank you guys, like, for your new support, your continuous support. We have always seen violence for people that have known for decades. Like, I want to say decades for me because I'm only 33, but more than a decade, I have known about the plight of Palestinians, and I was fortunate and privileged enough to know Palestinian people throughout my life, and also to have worked professionally with Palestinian people in my life as well too. So I have seen the violence, the videos. I have watched the documentaries by Abby Martin. So watching this is just a comparison of what we see as Black people. That's literally how I like understand this now, that they're shooting them unarmed, everything. They're putting their knees on their neck like they do to us here. And they're still in their land, you know, comparison to how they wiped out the Native Americans here. There still are Native Americans here, but they tried to wipe them out and they stole their land. Black people try to build communities, you know what I mean? Like Little Libya in my hometown, Bridgeport. You know what I mean? We try to build thriving communities, and they were taken from us. They were either gentrified or they were burned down to the ground and then turned into parks, like what happened to Central Park, Syndica. That was a Black thriving neighborhood. It wasn't just Black people that lived there. It was also a thriving neighborhood for Irish immigrants as well too. You know what I mean? In Little Libya, it was a Black thriving neighborhood that also had indigenous people there as well too in Bridgeport, Connecticut. You know, we have throughout the years established great communities, and you know, there's communities still here now, but not as much as it was in the past. When you look at race riots, there are a list of race riots dating back to the 1800s and dating all the way up to the mid 20th century. Race riots, killing Black people 24/7. It happened. It happened. They don't teach it in school, but you can find it. So when I see a video like this, here are two people. Like it says, viewer discretion is advised, guys. I don't think there's any. Let me see if there's any sound. No, there isn't any sound. So here is the bitch ass IDF. They find two people here in like what it looks like a shed, some sort. Let me make this bigger for you guys. There we go. They bring them out. Look, hands are up. Unarmed. Unarmed. They bring them out. The video is being buffery. Oh no. I don't know why I didn't download. I think that's the sign that's trying to take over my computer. All right, they bring them out. Nope, it's still being buffery. You can find this on YouTube. I don't want to continue to try to struggle with this video if it decides not to. Oh, here we go. Okay, so yeah, look. Kick him. They kicked him. You know what I mean? Unarmed. Unarmed. Nobody has any weapons. They pushed him back into this shed, this little enclave. Shoot him. They shoot them. See? You know, they didn't want to show the part. I saw the part. But look, you can see they're dragging out their bodies. They shot two unarmed Palestinians in the West Bank. So the West Bank is occupied. The West Bank is occupied by Israel still. They are building settlements. They have built up to 22. A historic Christian neighborhood was wiped out, no longer exists. It is now new settlements for Zionists, Israelis. And yeah, that's what they're doing. One by one, they are tearing down everything they can. And soon after they're done with the West Bank and Gaza, I bet you Jordan's on the lookout because they have Jordan inside the greater Israel. They have Syria, which they already have the Golan Heights. Lebanon, there's parts that they are really trying to take over as well too. You know what I mean? It's just, this is expansionism. This is what they do. This is what colonialists do, man. They do not stop. Colonizers do not stop. They expand. Just like I said, America expanded with when they went on their purge back in the 1950s with taking over Hawaii. You know what I mean? Sending the Marines, taking over Hawaii, toppling all these governments with the CIA as well too. 56 coups to try to make sure they establish dictators within the Latin American government so they can control what's going on. Even in Asia, you got Guam, you got all these other places. You know what I mean? So this is what they do. This expansionism. The U.S. attack dog is Israel in the Middle East. Israel does not control the U.S. The U.S. controls Israel. The U.S. funds Israel projects since 1967. You know what I mean? When the British wanted to let go of all that, it's the U.S. that controls what goes on. The U.S. needs Israel to expand and be the attack dog in the Middle East so they can control the resources, everything. Once they keep all these countries in chaos, it's easier for them to come on in, just like what happened in Syria. That's the game plan. And you see these people with their hands up, and then they bring them back into the shed and they shoot them. Why you thought they brought them back in the shed? They don't want to shoot them out in the open so everybody can see. Oh, no. Even though they do that. And more cameras are starting to see that, especially in Gaza. But it's just really, really heartbreaking, man. It's just really, really heartbreaking. Let me look on my notes. So this is why I also support when they had that banner, Palestinian Lives Matter, PLM. Straight up, PLM, BLM, unite, bro. Straight up. Straight up. You could never convince me otherwise, because what's happening to Palestine is a reflection of what has happened to every indigenous person, every black community in history. Everything. I totally resonate with Palestine. Totally. And I would never stop. And with that being said, I want to make sure I announce Power Relief Crisis. Please follow them on IG, guys. They are a organization located in Gaza that have helped hundreds of thousands of families that have been displaced because of the incursion, because of genocide, because of the war, the endless bombing. Gaza is a parking lot at this point. They're all in tents. When you see the bombings now, they're bombing tents. They're bombing tents now, you know? So please go to this handle on IG. Donate. Your donation will go towards helping Palestinians. Guarantee you that. People always ask, how do I get involved? How do I get involved? This is how you can get involved. Now, I want to go back to before we end this show, and I apologize about the glitches that happened earlier. StreamYard just be doing too much sometimes. I want to go back real quick to ICE. I want to go back to ICE real quick. There was a very cool, interesting segment on the Roland Martin show that I've watched where Jasmine Crockett breaks down with a ICE detainee survivor, because people are dying in these facilities.
Mayor, for calling this, but let me be clear. Donald Trump is running the most openly racist immigration regime in modern American history. I've said it once and I'll say it again. Donald Trump's mass deportation system makes me think of what a modern day slave patrol would look like. Slave patrols were armed groups empowered by the government to control, intimidate, and terrorize people solely based on color. That's what's happening now. Donald Trump is sending mass agents without warrants into communities of color to terrorize the people who live there. And the reason that I want to make sure that I draw out this link, because we heard Maxine say that black and brown is coming together. I want to be clear about this. This should not just be the immigrant community. This should be all of us united, because we know united we stand, divided we fall. And unfortunately, this last election, we allowed ourselves to be divided. Now, Ms. Velez, it's my understanding that you were detained by federal agents while you were on your way to work. Is that correct? Did any of these agents present you with a warrant?
No.
An explanation?
No.
Did they do anything other than illegally detain and arrest you?
Yeah.
Did they even identify themselves?
No, they did not.
Okay. Donald Trump has created an environment where these agents believe they are above the law. And one of the things that the ranking member just said was that there's a level of dehumanization. It is in that dehumanization, whether we are talking about the language they use to describe human beings, or whether we talk about the fact that they don't feel as if certain people are entitled to their constitutional rights. That is why Ms. Velez, unfortunately, was denied her constitutional rights, which we know she was supposed to enjoy, just like those in our immigrant community. But this isn't just that this is the most openly racist immigration regime in modern day history. It is also the most violent and deadly immigration regime in decades. More people have died this year in ISIS custody than in any year since the early 2000s, and the year is not over. Ms. Kozlowski, talk to me about the disturbing reports of unsanitary and
Now, before we talk about, before they get into the conversation about the facilities, the concentration camps, let's just call them what they are. Call them what they are. These people are not fully all being deported. They are being used for slave labor. Let's just call it what it is. And we have people, when alligator Alcatraz exists for a minute, or you can just call alligator Auschwitz, whatever, the names that people called it. I think that's what my partner called it, and also what Rebecca Jones, when she was on the show, she called it alligator Auschwitz. There were people that went into those facilities, elected officials, because they were allowed to go in and check. Majority of the people that were there, yes, they had green cards, and also they had nonviolent crimes, like a traffic stop or something, you know what I mean? Or they didn't have a crime at all. So these people didn't commit any crimes, majority of them. It's literally not a lot of gang members at all. They are rarely grabbing gang members at this point. They're just grabbing anybody that they can. You know what I mean? So I want y'all to think about that while they describe what the conditions these people are in, because majority of them are not even criminals. Their only crime is being an immigrant. Their only crime.
inhumane conditions, which are partly responsible for the increase in deaths at the federal detention facilities.
The conditions that we see in the federal detention centers, from holding facilities to facilities across the country, are absolutely deplorable. They are deadly, as you have pointed out. But we see conditions where people are denied medical care, where people are harmed while in custody, where people are held incommunicado from their families. What we are seeing right now are the most horrific conditions, and they are simply designed to get people to give up on their cases. They're intentionally cruel, being kept away from their families In some cases, we've seen people in the midst of chemotherapy treatments, people on dialysis who are being held in conditions where they don't have access to bathrooms, where they're given rotten food, where they're in places that are so crowded, rooms that are meant for just a dozen people with 60 people in them, that they can't even lay down despite their delicate medical conditions.
Thank you so much. Listen, Donald Trump has dehumanized people of color for decades. I want y'all to understand this is who he is. This is an actual feature of what it is to be Donald Trump. Instead of a flaw, he demanded the execution of innocent black boys. He has been sued many times for racial discrimination. He called African nations shithole countries. He said that, quote, immigrants poison the blood of our country. And he's repeatedly refused to denounce white supremacy. In fact, he's hired many white supremacists to work in this administration. And now they're carrying out this racist and violent mass deportation, and it is destroying our country. LA, we stand with you, and we stand with the.
So, I mean, if you're pro ICE at this point, dude, you are pro Nazis. You are pro KKK. You are, and you know what's crazy? Just like the KKK, they hide their identity. Just like the KKK. They hide their identity. And I think it's very, very astounding. You know what I mean? Because Donald Trump's approval rating is negative 24 at this point. He is very close. I think about 10 points away from my political science knowledge, because Nixon was negative 36 or something like that on the approval rating. He is very close to go down with past Nixon, very close. So this man is one of the most unliked, if not the second most unliked president in history. And the idea that people are all on board for Donald Trump is absolutely false. Trump official cabinets leaders are literally living on military bases. Why are they living on military bases? This was reported by Dan Kovalik on my show, because they don't want protesters to show up to their house. They're afraid of the backlash. And then you talk about backlash. Look what happened in Chinatown in New York City this past week. It was crazy. I thought I saw a different country. No, it was America. So we can sit here and let all these people on social media that are pro-ICE, that live in these beautiful, amazing homes, you know what I mean? The suburbs, the beautiful suburbs, and stuff like that, complain and talk about, yes, ICE, all this shit. But they don't reflect reality. They don't at all. They don't reflect majority of the people in the United States of America. This was the lowest turnout for elections for a reason. Lowest turnout for a reason. So the people are not with ICE. The people are not with Donald Trump. The people need to be in the streets. The working class. Our fight is in the streets. The streets. There is if you are in New Haven, Connecticut, there's a rally at 1 p.m. to call out this administration against Venezuela, to call out there to say hands off Venezuela. Please join that rally at 1 p.m. on Saturday at the New Haven Green. If you are in Connecticut. But the fight is here. And there's no more dialogue. It's what side are you on? Talk to your family members. Yes. Talk to your friends. Yes. I'm not saying no more dialogue. I was like, it's absolute, like the Charlie Kirk weirdos. But once you had this dialogue and you get a full understanding of where these people are at, stop trying to persuade them. Honestly, look, man, we can only take care of ourselves at this point. That's where I want to end this at, because at the end of the day, we already know what time it is. You see it all the time. When they brought a Black Hawk helicopter in Chicago and literally deployed down on a black building complex and they had Latinos in one paddy wagon and they had black people in another paddy wagon trying to figure out who's I already knew what time it was, but that's solidified to let me know what time it is. So please, guys, please be vigilant, be afraid, but also be angry. Let's move. Let's organize. Let's get in these streets. That's what I'm about to be doing. As soon as I'm getting done with this program, I'm about to go back to organizing and getting out in these streets. Because I don't just do podcasts. I move. And that's what we need to be doing. We need to be moving. Take care of yourselves.
Blank period, yeah. On my black, brown, and indigenous. Gotta holler if you really feeling this. Gotta holler if you really real enough. Other rappers is delirious. Yeah, it's really that serious. Better holler if you really feeling me. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna live in abundance. I gotta keep it 100, ayy. If you don't like it, then fuck it, ayy. We gonna win in the end, yeah, we gonna. I gotta keep it 100. We gotta stop all the stunting. You know we coming from nothing. Yo, you talking about money, you bluffing. We gotta do something different. We gotta change how we live in. We gotta do better for women. We gotta do better for children. We gotta listen to victims, whether Jewish or Muslim or Christian. It doesn't matter your religion. You gotta stand against the system, or else you just another villain. How you just sitting there chilling?